This is Abbey Chase, the US girl from the Girls for Real inspired comic book girls from the Danger Girls. This is Abbey Chase. She's a 1/6 scale garage kit from Heng's Models. Heng Helger sent me this review sample to build and paint. Thank you so much, Heng. She is part of a series which is inspired by the comic girls from the Danger Girls, and it is an absolute fan art project. This kit is limited to 49 castings and is presented in 1/6 scale. Once the molds are destroyed, it will not be available anymore. I have kit number 21 of 49, and you can see this is how she is represented right here. Fantastic. There's 15 pieces here, and let's look at her torso first. This is very nicely cast. It is hollow cast. Resin garage kit. And you can see alignment tabs have been incorporated with this, so it fits right in with the bottom of her torso with the legs. It's a beautiful fit. Very little cleanup, if any, is required here. I mean, she's fantastic. You can see everything is the way it needs to be to go together. Natural seam lines on her bodysuits, on her pants. This is where her holster will go. Very nice. And her head is actually done in different parts, so we can paint her skin tones separate against her hair, and then even the little barbs of hair that hang down. I will have to figure those out, but they insert like that, and there's a smaller one on the other side. I'm not absolutely sure that's how that goes, but pretty sure it goes over more. Yeah, something like that. Very nicely, well thought out for the painter. So I think that's very cool there. One of her arms, her left arm, with the hand. That just slots right in with the hand there. And her other arm, her right arm, slot that in with the gun. Like I said, she is comic book inspired. Her boots, her left boot, and her right boot, which is going to be in that kind of a position on the ground. And there you have it. That is the next in a line of Danger Girls. You've already seen Sydney Savage the Australian girl that I painted up. That was a lot of fun. Well, this one goes with her. Stand by for another update. J. Scott Campbell created this comic book series here in the US, and that's what all these figures are inspired by. And this is going to insert into that. And what I use to glue all my figures together is this fine product here. It's called Magic Smooth. It's a two-parter. It's very strong, and you don't have to worry about the parts breaking apart later on. I found that was the case with some of my kits that were glued together with 5-minute epoxy or the super glue. 5-minute epoxy is probably better than the super glue, but the super glue definitely does not stand the time of punishment and such with your figures. So I would highly recommend this. It's a little more expensive, but it's great to use. So I'm going to glue this together. Get me a piece of cardstock here. And this one is just clear white. The other one has a yellowish color to it. And equal parts are mixed. So take a little bit of that one and a little bit of that one. Close these off. And of course, the company here, Wesco, is the same company that makes your Magic Sculpt. We'll mix this together, get it into the same consistency that it needs to be. You could also use super glue to kind of hold things together while this is drying. In this case, I'm going to use some clamps to hold it together. But you can see what it looks like after it's mixed. Kind of a creamy white paste. And I'm going to put it down here. Into this area. I did file away some of the stuff to get the leg to fit better. And right now I'm just going to glue the leg together, clamp it, and that way it has a chance to dry. And then I'll glue the rest. I may be leaving some of the stuff off because it's just going to be easier to paint. And I'm going to take our leg, insert that in there. Now I want to put a good clamp on it. And that's good there. I want to take and clean off the excess. And to clean off the excess, I'm just going to pour some IPA. Put it on a Q-tip, those sharpened Q-tips, and just wipe it off. And you can see that just kind of filled in the seam there. See if I have any coming through anywhere else. I do not. So I'm just going to let that dry. I think it looks good. Be back after a while. Okay, continuing with the assembly process. With her lower torso, I actually had to fill in some of the seams here with some perfect plastic putty. And what I do with the perfect plastic putty is I take it all out of the tube and I put it in a little dropper bottle here with some water. I thin it out and got a sharp point here, and it's really great for getting into the cracks and crevices of her. And then take a Q-tip and our cotton bud with some water and just wipe it off, and actually I can continue that process and get it in there even better, but that's how that looks. I also used a little bit of 3D resin, and that resin is just gonna cure with the UV light, and I showed you how to do that earlier, but I did put some resin down in there too because I do want to have that crevice in there. And the 3D resin itself, you know, does kind of have capillary action, and it gets down into the cracks and crevices. So I'm going to clean her up a little bit later, but what I'm going to do in this video is we're going to go ahead and assemble more parts to her. Let me zoom out. Doing a lot of test fitting. That's how that test fits there. So we're going to put some Magic Smooth in there. You know, she will be sitting like that on the ground, so it's really cool. So I already took out 1:1 ratio of the Magic Smooth, and that's what it looks like. The hardener and the resin itself, so we're going to mix this up. My weather here lately in Tucson has been stormy, wet, rainy, cold, not conducive to the painting I want to do, because when I paint I have to do a lot of sealing, and those clear sealers I use smell really bad. I don't want to spray them inside, so I take them outside and spray, so it's not conducive for that right now, but I can go ahead and assemble kits and stuff. So that's what that looks like. And you could actually leave this out to sit for a little while, so let it harden just a tiny bit more. You got plenty of time to work with it. And that's what that looks like. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move this to the side. Bring over the figure. And if you get it on your hands, you can use some IPA to clean off your hands. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just put a very little bit in there. Can't really see that. Just tap some super glue around the edge so it will hold it. And put that on. Just like that. And while I hold it, put some kicker on it. Capillary action will put it where it needs to go and let it dry. So the super glue should hold it in place, give it enough time for this Magic Smooth to dry. Bring over the Magic Smooth. That should hold her in place. Bring over my super glue. I tap some there, up front, and in the back. Move that out of the way. And okay. Okay, so she has dried up, and so I just have a few seams here I want to fill, and my choice for doing that is plastic putty, and this is my little mix here. It's a combination of the putty and some water. I'm going to shake it up, and I have it in a fine applicator so I can be very precise where I apply it. And just to give you an example on how this works, I'll put a bud in some water and wipe off the excess. Now there is some shrinkage involved with this, but it's very little, and this stuff is great for filling in the small stuff like this. And go all the way around her waist. And like I said, it's just great for that. And just go around here and remove the excess. And even after it dries, you can still remove it with water. So there's really no sanding required. And I'll probably have to go and do a second coat of this because, like I said, it does shrink a little bit. But this is perfect for that. That looks great. Just gonna clean it up a little more, but you get the idea. Next step is to go ahead and primer with my usual, the SEM High Build Primer. I'll be back after that's done.